Okay, so one thing I do want to mention before we start reacting to the top 100 baseball players going into 2022 according to MLB and their Twitter account, I want to mention I do not hate any of the people that made this list. I just have differing opinions. Are there a lot of differing opinions? Yes, but it doesn't mean I think they're stupid or that I hate them. So let's just get that out the way right now. And also, one more thing I do want to mention, you will not be seeing names of prospects like Bobby Witt Jr. or Adley Rutschman or Julio Rodriguez, because when they made this list, they weren't called up, so they weren't sure if they were going to be in the league. And also, speaking of Julio Rodriguez, to celebrate him getting called up, I'm giving away this Julio Rodriguez autograph card. So if you want a chance of winning that, all you have to do is 1, subscribe, 2, let me know in the comment section down below who do you think is the best player in baseball going into 2022, and then a social media so I can tell you that you won. So without further ado, remember, I don't hate these people. Let's start reacting. 100 to 91, kickstarting today's video, a fall from grace type of player, actually 2 of them consecutively. We have Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger, Marcus Stroman, Jose Barrios, Whit Merrifield, Chris Taylor, DJ LeMahieu, Clayton Kershaw. What? At 93, Justin Verlander and Adam Wainwright. So the issues I have right off the bat is Cody Bellinger being ahead of Christian Yelich. Now, I'm not sure if that's because Cody still plays elite defense, but offensively, he might be the worst hitter in baseball since 2020. And then putting Justin Verlander ahead of Clayton Kershaw, that's disrespectful in my opinion, because Kershaw was pretty good last year. I know he was injured for a majority of it, and same with Justin Verlander, but to put Verlander ahead of him already, I agree with Chris Taylor, I agree with DJ LeMahieu and Whit Merrifield, but so far we're not starting off great. 90 to 81, Nelson Cruz is at 90. We have Brandon Belt at 89, and then the rest follows as Jonathan India, Lance McCullers, Jack Flaherty, Lucas Giolito, Sandy Alcantara, Matt Chapman, Yoan Moncada, and Willie Adames. Yoan Moncada, to me, is a top 80 player, so I guess we're going to have to wait and see who is ahead of him, but he had a really good 2021 campaign. Matt Chapman, he has kind of had a fall from grace type of last few years, and then the rest of these guys, Jonathan India, who just won Rookie of the Year and looks to be even better in 2022, at least from the metrics that I've seen. 88 is cool. I would have probably put him a little bit higher. Same with Jack Flaherty, who had an all-time great historic second half of the season a few years ago. Maybe 86 is a little bit too low, but Moncada for sure, to me, should be higher than 82. So let me know between 90 and 81 who got robbed. So now we're going to talk about the top 80 players, and apparently Joey Votto is no longer a top 20, let alone top 50, let alone top 60. He's barely in the top 80. So we have Kyle Schwarber, JD Martinez, Yuli Gurriel. We have back-to-back Astros apparently, Michael Brantley, followed by Joey Votto, Freddie Peralta, Kevin Gausman, Jake Cronenworth at 73, Ketel Marte at 72, Randy at 71. So one of the reasons why a lot of people do not like Randy going forward is because of a stat called xWOBA, where he kind of outperforms that stat, so regression is expected. I feel like Randy is a stud, so maybe putting him at 71 to me is too low, but to other people that might be exactly where he belongs. But Ketel Marte has a combined 140 OPS plus over the last few seasons. He is a stud on the bases as well. Defensively, he can play a few different positions. So right now, I want to hone in on 2 different guys, Jake Cronenworth and Ketel Marte. Both of those dudes are top 50 players, borderline top 40 players. I guess we're going to have to wait and see who is in that top 40 according to MLB and their writers. But Kevin Gausman's been pretty solid. Freddie Peralta had a really good year. He was essentially unhittable for a stretch. His hits per 9 was, I believe, below 6 per 9 innings. Michael Brantley, Yuli Gurriel. Even Yuli, he's kind of old, but Gurriel, he might deserve to be higher. He was really good last year. All right, so I see some familiar faces with Stanton and my former favorite player, Francisco Lindor. At the 70 spot, we have Anthony Rendon, Trevor Story with the very nice 69th pick. Then we have Lindor, Baez, Bryant, Teoscar Hernandez, Justin Turner, Winker, Alonso, and Stanton. Wow. Okay, so this is definitely something I want to spend some time on. According to Major League Baseball, Francisco Lindor is the 68th best player. Okay, I know that since the final month of 2019 when he was still with Cleveland, offensively, he has not been the same guy. But in the second half of 2021, we saw some life from Lindor. Defensively, he is still one of the best. I don't understand 68, but okay, sure, because he has had that little slump. Anthony Rendon is a beast when he's healthy. 70 I mean, that's just being nitpicky at that point. And it's Trevor Story at the 69th pick. Chris Bryant. Let's see who else we have. Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker. I love Jesse Winker as a hitter, but he is not better than Chris Bryant, in my opinion. He is not better than Francisco Lindor. Maybe is he a better hitter at this point in his career, but defensively, he's absolute buns. If he watches this video, I'm sorry to say that. Giancarlo Stanton has been a monster when healthy. Pete Alonso, the same thing. But to put Jesse Winker ahead of guys like Anthony Rendon or Trevor Story or Chris Bryant or Teoscar, who was a menace to society in the batter's box last year, or Javier Baez, this is where I start to have issues. And honestly, it gets worse from here. So we have made it to the top 60, and starting off the top 60s, we have Josh Hader, Liam Hendricks, Brandon Crawford, Ozzie Albies, Brandon Lau, Yasmani Grandal, JT Realmuto, Will Smith, Salvador Perez, and Lance Lynn. So apparently they had a collective meeting and said, hey, we don't even want to talk about catchers and have it be controversial. We're going to put them in one little category because you have the best catchers in baseball in 4 consecutive spots. Yasmani, JT, Will Smith, and Salvador Perez. I'm going to say this right now. I know that Salvador Perez is a beast in the batter's box. His on-base percentage is a little bit suspect. It's still good. It could be better. But defensively, the man is horrible. He is the Jesse Winker of catchers. That might be blasphemy, but I'm going to live with that. I would put Yasmani, JT, and Will Smith ahead of Salvador Perez. I love the home runs. I just feel like Salvi defensively is an absolute liability nowadays. He was great back in the day, but lately he's become overrated, and I'm actually in agreement with him being overrated as a defender. Offensively, really good, but I would choose JT, Realmuto, Will Smith, and Yasmani before Salvador Perez. Hate me all you want, but that is my opinion. Brandon Lau is an absolute monster. I'm going to say this right now. Brandon Lau, I mean, he puts the low in way too low because he deserves to be in the top 50. I mean, he's a top 40 player in my opinion. Offensively, he is off the charts. Brandon Lau, in my opinion, way too low. Josh Hader and Liam Hendricks, the relief pitchers, they come in every once in a while. I'm cool with them not being top 50. Oh no. Oh, Luis. Okay, I'm not sure if health is a big factor in these lists, and maybe that's why Luis Robert barely cracked the top 50. So we have Robert, Julio Urias, Max Fried, Robbie Ray, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, Cedric Mullins, Brian Reynolds at 43, Tyler O'Neill behind Starling Marte. MLB. Again, I don't dislike you as people, but what are we doing? In my opinion, Cedric Mullins, Brian Reynolds, and Tyler O'Neill are all better than Starling Marte. Marte was fantastic last year. Do not get me wrong. He found the fountain of youth, but I am expecting some regression. Tyler O'Neill, he was top 5% in exit velo, sprint speed. He was a really good defender. I mean, he had 30-something home runs. He was a beast. Brian Reynolds is an all-around maniac, and same with Cedric Mullins. Ever since he stopped switch hitting, he has been a monster. Yordan behind Jose Abreu, okay. I feel like Yordan is the better hitter, but because of the defense, maybe Jose is a little bit better. Max Fried at 48, and to me, the biggest crime of this specific graphic, 50 through 41, is Luis Robert at 50. When he's healthy, top 20 player, in my opinion. Oh, Wander Franco. I know he only played 80-something games in 2021, but the man might have been a top 3 shortstop to end the season. Wander Franco starts it off at 40. Then we have Byron Buxton, who is in the same conversation as Luis Robert. The talent is there, but I guess injuries is coming into account when they're making this list. Brandon Woodruff, Shane Bieber, Nick Castellanos, Max Muncy, Austin Riley, George Springer, Bo Bichette, and Tim Anderson. I love Tim Anderson. He is very good. He's not better than Bo Bichette. He's not better than Byron Buxton. He's not better than Wander Franco. Not that he's overrated, but I would not be taking him over any of the shortstops that you see on this graphic. Ooh, we are breaking the top 30. Kyle Tucker, who was one of the 10 best players last year, is starting off at 30, followed by his teammates, I should say, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Paul Goldschmidt. No one talks about Paul Goldschmidt, but he might be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the next few years. Matt Olson, Zach Wheeler, Corbin Burns, Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, and Corey Seager. Okay, Matt Olson is projected to be better than Paul Goldschmidt. I have not seen Freddie Freeman just yet. So according to MLB, the Braves actually got worse because Matt Olson is going to be ranked lower than Freddie Freeman. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, to me, is it blasphemous to say Paul Goldschmidt is still in the top 20? Kyle Tucker, to me, deserves to be ahead of guys like Xander Bogaerts. I mean, Xander Bogaerts is an absolute monster, but defensively, he's just not going to get it done. So I would have rearranged it as Jose Altuve's fine at 28. Kyle Tucker, to me, is ahead of Xander Bogaerts. But because Rafi is so good with the stick, I'd probably leave him at 22. Corey Seager's fine at 21. Yeah, I would put Kyle Tucker probably at 23. I'd move down Xander a little bit and probably Paul Goldschmidt up a little bit along with Matt Olson. So, okay, fine. Here we go, the top 20. Marcus Semien, Nolan Arenado, Manny Machado, Walker Buehler, Garrett Cole, Jose Ramirez at 15th. Okay, we might have problems with that once I see the other names on this list. Carlos Correa, Trey Turner, Max Scherzer, Aaron Judge. I'm going to sound like an absolute fanboy right now, but I still believe that Jose Ramirez is better than Carlos Correa, especially offensively. Not to take anything away from Carlos, he was a cheat code last year, especially with the glove. He won that platinum glove. So Semien at 20. I guess I'm just a hater, a Marcus Semien hater. I feel like he has a really good year and then he regresses, a really good year, and then if the trend continues, he might regress a little bit, but he's in a great lineup with his buddy Corey Seager. Nolan Arenado, I mean, right now, Nolan Arenado, okay, he's still a top 20 player. Machado, Buehler, Garrett Cole, Jose Ramirez. I mean, right now, Jose Ramirez, I would put him ahead of Carlos Correa. I would take Jose Ramirez over Trey Turner, and that's not to take anything away from TT, Max Scherzer, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, again, he is a top 10 player when he's healthy, so I don't agree with him being outside of the top 10. That's just me. And then last but not least, the moment that you've all been waiting for. Obviously, we have seen a player dethroned for the first time in, a decade. Mike Trout is no longer the best player, according to MLB, but we'll get to that in just a second. So the top 10, according to Major League Baseball. Ronald, we have Freddie Freeman. I'm sorry, Freddie Freeman is just a little bit too high in my opinion. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Jacob deGrom, Mookie Betts, Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr., Mike Trout, and Shohei Ohtani. Call me crazy, but I'm still a big-time believer in Mike Trout, so I would actually put Shohei Ohtani as the third. I'm going to say that right now. Shohei Ohtani, to me, is the third best player. I mean, because he's not a Cy Young candidate, and offensively, even though he is speedy and he's going to hit a bunch of home runs, I feel like Juan Soto is the better overall defender and offensive player, so he beats him in 2 out of the 3 categories, because obviously Juan Soto is not going to pitch. So to me, I'd go Mike Trout, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani. I would probably put Fernando Tatis Jr. at the 4 spot. I'd put Ronald at the 5 spot, followed by deGrom, Harper, Betts, Guerrero. I'd probably move Judge into the top 10, and then from there it's kind of a toss-up. But for me, my top 3, Mike Trout still. You have to dethrone Mike Trout, and I don't think that Shohei or Juan Soto have done that just yet. Juan Soto is the closest. Shohei Ohtani, again, if he was a Cy Young caliber pitcher, I'd probably put him at the number 1 spot, but I mean, I might even just be contradicting myself because he's still pretty good at pitching and he's elite at hitting, and with the speed too. But defensively, Juan Soto improved, and Juan Soto over the last few seasons has an almost combined 180 OPS plus. So I'm gonna give it to Juan Soto as the second best player, and Shohei is just barely beat out. So if you agree with any of these picks or disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, again, nothing personal, but those are just my opinions. But by the end of this year, I expect Baddoo, Witt Jr., Torkelson, Rutschman, and Julio Rodriguez to be on the 2023 list. So thank you all so much for watching. Peace out. Also, where's my friend Joey Gallo? He's a top 100 player. I'm sorry.